Introduction. The first thing we have to evaluate is who is going to use the product and why they're going to use it, or for what they're going to use it. It's not the same to design a professional product for someone that must edit videos for a Marvel film than for someone who just wants to add some effects on a TikTok video. So the same thing happens when we're designing forms or we're building applications. Not all the forms and applications are going to be for professional use. So for this reason, we have to take into account that the majority of applications that we build with this platform have a professional objective. This is why we're always going to be designing for a computer, or most of the time we're going to be designing for a computer. But sometimes it's not enough. In some cases, it might be convenient to create interfaces for smaller devices. So the first thing we need to take into account is that nowadays, the vast majority of tablets have a very similar resolution to the resolutions we have on a computer. So normally we can reuse the design that we've built for a computer or a large TV screen for our tablets. Now, when it comes to much smaller devices, then it is quite common to build a different interface or maybe an adaptive interface for these smaller devices. We're going to learn how to do this throughout this course. So here we can see several examples of different corporate applications that need to be built. And obviously most of them are going to be used on a computer, or all of them are going to be used on a computer. But there is some specific procedures or applications that can be built taking into account smaller devices. For example, let's say we have a holiday request, or we have a risk analysis process, or we have a process to manage our documentation and change control management. Maybe we have another process for sending complaints or for our tax declarations. We know most of the time the users are going to use their computer because most of the times these forms are quite complex or they've got a lot of fields, and it wouldn't really make sense to do this from a mobile phone, or it would be really, really uncomfortable. I can't imagine anyone trying to do their tax declaration on their phone, although if you want to, feel free to try. But we do know usually these complex forms are it's much easier to fill them in when we're using a larger device. Now it comes to some specific scenarios like a holiday request, or maybe to send a simple complaint, where users might want to do this on their phone. So in these cases, we're going to design taking into account these smaller devices. So the first thing we want to know is how to access the platform with a small device, with a mobile device. So there's three different possibilities. Two of them are already built into the system, and we don't have to worry about them. We don't have to do anything. We could use the AuraQuantic app. All we have to do is go to the Play Store, to Google Play, and download the application into our phone. And the other option would be using the web app. When we use the web app, we don't really need to install anything in our phone. All we have to do is access a browser, type in the link to the portal, to the platform, and once we do that, it's going to ask us for our credentials, and it's going to allow us to enter. And then another option is building our own custom app. Obviously, when we build our own custom app, this is going to require much more time. It's something that we're doing outside of the platform. It can be done. So if we want a very specific look and feel, and we don't want to go with the look and feel that we already have by default, we can build our own customized applications. Obviously, this is going to cost much more time, and probably not only the implementation, but the maintenance is going to be much higher. And besides, we're not going to inherit all the advantages that the platform gives us. We're going to have the advantages and disadvantages of whatever we built with our custom code. So here we can see what can be customized. Let's say I'm working with the AuraQuantic app. So I downloaded it onto my mobile phone, and there's certain things that I can customize. For example, all the forms that appear can be customized. The notifications that appear can also be customized, and the login form can also be customized. Now, there is specific things that cannot be customized. Now, when it comes to the web app, everything can be customized to some extent. Obviously, the platform doesn't come with all the components that any company might want. So there's always, let's say there's a large amount of components that are available for any company. But sometimes there's companies that require a very specific component, something, I don't know, maybe a specific detail or a very specific look and feel. So if you want this, you can always go for it. Obviously, with the time it's going to take by building this with external code or external tools. So there's always going to be limitations in a project. These can be time limitations or the resources of knowledge or of technology. This is what happens most of the times. We don't have enough people in our IT team, and we need to build a lot of applications. We can't have so many people coding all of this because it's going to require months of implementation, and we don't want this. So basically, if we have this limitation of time or the resources, we're going to go for a local platform. Now, the app and the Autoquantic web app allow customization without the need of any programming, but there are certain limitations when it comes to customization. For example, if I want a specific graphic effect, I can add it by using an HTML, a plugin, integration, etc. So these are tools that already come in the system, so we can add our, let's say, our additional features. Besides, some of the windows have default appearance or default look and feel that cannot be changed in the native configuration. So if it comes to these parts of the application where it already has a defined or a default look and feel, and we want to change that, or maybe we want a funny widget, or maybe something that wiggles around or hops up and down when we're interacting with it. Obviously, this isn't a feature that we have in the platform, in the local platform. So we can always add it by using the APIs that we have in the platform, or using web services, or any of the feature or tool that the platform has to embed external features. The offsetting, obviously, when we're trying to do this, is the technical knowledge that is required for someone to do this. So if I need to work with web services, I need to know how web services work. So this is something an additional knowledge that I need to have in order to do this. Or if I want to use the API, maybe I need to know a little bit about coding and all that. So most of the time, I would always recommend you guys to go to the default features, the default components. Only if there's a specific additional requirement, well, then maybe we can call the IT team to pitch in and help us build this and connect it to the platform. Now here we can see if we want to download the app, all we have to do is go to the App Store or to Google Play. We look for the app and we can download it into our mobile device. On the other hand, if I need more information on how to use the app, I can go to the knowledge base, and here we can find this document that explains us in detail how the app works and all the features it has. So here we have a summary, but then it goes into great detail, like explaining each one of the windows that pop up and all the different customization options to receive notifications, tasks, etc. So here we have all the detailed information. If we want more information, we can go to the knowledge base and check it out. On the other hand, if we want to use the web app, we can see, well, we've already learned throughout the courses how to build different environments for the computer, like forms, dashboards, reports, and so on. So when it comes to a mobile device, if we're using the web app, all we have to do is either use the default web app that's already available for mobile phones or for smaller devices, or we can customize our applications however we want. For example, here we can see I have a large screen. So when I go to home, I click here on home, we can see the result on this window, on this space here in the center. Although if I have a much smaller device, let's imagine this is a mobile device, I'm going to update. So we can see the interface is totally different. So what it's doing is adjusting so that the content is more, it can be used comfortably on a mobile device. Obviously here, since this is a browser, I can't really make it as small as a mobile device, but we get an idea. Besides, the interaction is also different. For example, before when I clicked on home, it was showing me the result in a central frame, but now when I click on home, it shows me the result right here. So I've got everything adapted for a mobile phone. Everything appears more narrow, it appears vertically, and then when I'm working on a computer or a larger device, it's gonna have a different look and feel.